Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Tylearn, and today we're going to be remastering one of our what ifs, and this what if is what if Naruto learned Ki. I've decided to just remaster some of these what ifs that I haven't finished because I know I could definitely do better, and some of these what ifs are kind of lazy, and I decided to just remaster this one. And before we start, I'm just going to clarify I have made some changes to this what if, and with that being said, we can now move on to the what if itself. We'll just say here, Ki is a type of energy source that isn't necessarily chakra, but it actually comes from the Namikaze clan. The reason why I've decided to just implement the Namikaze clan into this is because they don't really have a specific ability that they get. Like how other clans would be able to give you some certain abilities, like how the Nara clan could give you Shadow Possession, the Akimichi could make you expand and have a lot of chakra, etc. But this time, the Namikaze clan is basically going to be able to access a different type of energy source that isn't chakra. Now here, I think Minato would just be clinically built different, bro. Like, he'd just be so much more powerful than his canon self. However, here, I think Obito would still try and use Kamui to escape, and this would then resort into Minato trying to use the Reaper Death Seal to put away Kushina and himself. Or I guess himself, but in the end, they both die. You guys get it. It's the same, backstory as in canon, and Naruto is born. But here, I think there's going to be one significant change. Naruto isn't going to be living by himself. The reason I believe this is because not only does Naruto have the Nine-Tails sealed inside of him, and also have the Uzumaki blood, he also has the Namikaze blood, which would also, you guys have probably guessed based off the title and thumbnail, he would be able to have access to Ki. So this would basically give Hiruzen the option to maybe keep Naruto a lot closer to him than how he did in canon, because let's be honest, Hiruzen just kind of paid Naruto's bills. That's all he really did. He didn't really check up on him too much. So I'm just going to say here, Hiruzen's going to be basically the father figure towards Naruto, because someone needs to look out for him. Also, being supervised under the third Hokage is actually a pretty good idea, since no one's going to really mess with him, and not to mention Hiruzen barely leaves the village anyway, so he'll be able to make sure Naruto is kept on track. And I think this is pretty fitting because, as we all know, eventually Naruto would go on to be like, oh, I want to become the Hokage, which I still believe would happen, which I'll get into a little bit later. But I think it's going to be a pretty good connection between Hiruzen and Naruto, since Hiruzen could actually teach Naruto how to become the Hokage, or get him on the right track. And if you guys are wondering, because Naruto is going to be supervised under Hiruzen, would he graduate earlier? Well, no. I'm going to say Hiruzen's going to let him be held back a couple times so Naruto can, learn a few more tricks and make sure he's really ready for the ninja world, because people are going to be going after him, and Hiruzen establishes that to Naruto once he eventually gets to the age of understanding that. And obviously, over the course of time as well, Hiruzen would be training Naruto in order for him to learn how to defend himself, because again, people are going to be going after him because he's a major threat. Also, they're going to be making sure they're keeping that whole Nine-Tails thing on the low, but people in the Leaf still hate Naruto like in canon. Anyways, as Hiruzen is raising Naruto, training him, and overall just making sure he is a healthy boy, Naruto would eventually ask Hiruzen, because he would catch on, he's a smart kid, and he would ask Hiruzen why everyone in the village hates him. Hiruzen knows that he can't just lie to the boys, so he decides to just cut to the chase and actually tell the hard, cold truth to Naruto, which honestly was probably the best thing Hiruzen could have ever done, because he's not going to lie to the kid's face. Anyways, after Hiruzen reveals what's inside of Naruto and really why all these things are happening to him, Naruto wouldn't really have a way to answer at first, and he's kind of just trying to process all of this information, because this is a pretty big deal to Naruto. He wouldn't know if he should like or dislike Hiruzen for this, because, to be fair, Naruto is a little too young, and Hiruzen was saying how he would have told Naruto when he was a little bit older, which is the genuine truth. Hiruzen isn't lying there. He would have been mad at Hiruzen at first, I think, but in the end, I think he would have forgave him, and I think Naruto would also establish a goal due to Hiruzen telling him as to why everyone hates him. He'll just become a Hokage like Hiruzen, and he'll just prove to everyone that he should be respected. Hiruzen smirks when Naruto is telling him this, and Hiruzen would then say, well, if Naruto wants to do that, he'll have to work very hard for it, and Hiruzen would help him plentiful on the way. At that point, Naruto and Hiruzen would then begin training, and we would then cut to a few years later, where it would be around the time where episode 1 of Naruto would start, where I'll say Hiruzen decides to let Naruto actually graduate, since he does believe that he's ready. And before we move any further into the story where, it would be around the same time where Naruto actually begins, that is the series. So I'm basically going to go over what abilities Naruto would have access to. Naruto would be able to shoot ki blasts. He would have supernatural strength, speed, and durability. It's way stronger than the average ninja, by the way, because, well, ki would exponentially increase you after doing some ki training, because that's how it works in Dragon Ball, so I'm going to apply it here. Obviously, Naruto could hypothetically be able to fly, but he's not going to be able to fly here, since I feel like that would just be kind of busted at this early stage in Naruto. So I'm going to say he can only shoot mouth beams and ki blasts from his hand. That's really the most he can do. Also, he can make stuff like explosive barriers, kind of like how Piccolo does in the 23rd Budokai, or how Vegeta uses it. Anyways, we would then get into Mizuki trying to manipulate Naruto, and honestly, I don't see it even working at all because Naruto is very loyal to the 3rd Hokage, and plus, you could even argue that Mizuki might not even try it on Naruto, but I'm just going to say here for the sake of the story that Mizuki is still going to try it anyway. And I'm going to say here, Naruto accepts and falls for Mizuki's plan, seemingly, but in reality, he's just going to be setting Mizuki up. And by the time Mizuki arrives near Naruto and Iruka tries to save him, because Iruka and Naruto would still have the same relationship, Naruto would just tell Iruka to get back, and this would then lead into Naruto blitzing over to Mizuki and one-shotting him with the ki blast to the face. Mizuki here is damn near close to death, and because Naruto just one-shotted the Chunin and almost killed him, and the only reason he didn't was because Naruto held back just enough power, Iruka's going to graduate Naruto. Now after this, we would then get introduced to Konohamaru canonically, but I'm going to say here that doesn't happen, since Naruto would have probably met Konohamaru earlier on in his life due to him already, being raised by Hiruzen, and him and Konohamaru being related. It would just kind of be bound for them to kind of encounter each other a lot earlier than in canon, and I think they would still have the same relationship, but they would probably not really use sexy jutsu, because I don't think Naruto would learn it in this timeline, meaning Konohamaru wouldn't either. Anyways, like in canon, we would get Naruto meeting with Team 7, establishing their goals to Kakashi, and them eventually taking the bell test, which I'll say still happens, and here Naruto's still going to fight Kakashi first. And this is pretty bad for Kakashi, since Naruto would basically power himself up with ki, releasing a white aura similar to how the human Z fighters do it. And we would then get Naruto rushing at Kakashi, having the advantage in speed and power, but in terms of skill and reaction speed with Kakashi's Sharingan, which Kakashi would probably have to resort to using since he's getting overpowered and outsped, would allow for Kakashi to evade Naruto's attacks and maybe try and counteract, but it's really not working, so Kakashi just relies on tricking Naruto with a trap on a tree, which kind of works since Naruto is a little gullible. But here, I'm not going to have Naruto be defeated. Naruto being trapped at the top of a tree in a net would basically just release all of his ki from his body, which would be an explosive wave attack, and destroy the tree and all the area around him, and Kakashi would obviously back up a few steps. And the reason why he only takes a few steps back is because Kakashi's already kind of far ahead away from Naruto, so he's not going to worry too much about the explosive wave, but he is glad he took those few steps back. Anyways, Naruto would then be revealed to be completely fine now, and the net in the area around him is completely destroyed. We would then have Naruto use all of his ki that's left within him, and he basically concentrated all and releasing it in a aura burst. Kakashi would proceed to block, thinking that Naruto is going to go for an attack, and as Naruto is nearly about to hit Kakashi, he would then move to the right, and he would then snag the two bells, surprising Kakashi, and it's really too late for Kakashi to even try and do anything, so Naruto just kind of low-key off-guarded and blitzed Kakashi. So here, technically Kakashi can't fail them because their goal has been completed. They did grab the two bells, but Kakashi still has to teach him about teamwork. So during the 1 month gap that takes place after the bell test but before the Land of Waves, we will basically get Team 7 learning teamwork. And because Sakura and Sasuke are a little far behind, we'll basically have Kakashi teaching Sasuke and Sakura and attempts to teach Naruto about chakra control, but instead Naruto does his own thing of training and basically does ki training while the others do chakra training. Hypothetically, Naruto should be able to learn not only ki but also chakra due to his Uzumaki blood, but I'm going to say here Naruto would have a choice, and I'm going to say here that Naruto is going to pick his ki route, since why would he just pick the chakra route? That would just be kind of boring for this kind of what if. So for that sake, I'm going to say that Naruto goes the key route. So here, I'm going to have Kakashi still teach him teamwork. You know, just because Naruto isn't doing the same training as Sasuke and Sakura doesn't mean that they can't work together. So they're going to be doing missions together. Kakashi's going to give them their whole, you know, if you abandon your friends, you're more than scum speech. All that stuff is going to be established during the 1 month, which is plenty enough time for them to learn that they need to work together. And Sasuke and Sakura are going to be relative to their Land of Waves saga selves, or by the end of the Land of Waves, that is. Meanwhile, Naruto is going to be doing some completely built different training, and he's going to be trying to learn how to fly, but it just doesn't work. And he would know about flight and basically most of his key abilities due to Hiruzen having so much knowledge on them. And with that being said, Naruto's just trying to learn how to fly and stuff, but it's kind of hard to do that. And at best, he can just lift himself from the ground for a couple seconds before falling. And Sasuke and Sakura can do all that tree walking, water walking, all that stuff. Anyways, we would then get into the Land of Waves arc itself, where the Demon Brothers would immediately come in and attack Team 7, but instead of Naruto getting scared and Sasuke intervening, it would be Naruto intervening and shooting 2 ki blasts at them before they can even reach Naruto, or Tazuna, or really anyone. Like, nah, bro, Naruto really disrespected them. Like, as soon as they come in, they just get one-shotted and knocked out, and they're slumped for the rest of the arc. You know, for the entire series. They don't come back, bro. They're gone. Now here, Zabuza would still proceed to arrive and imprison Kakashi, and now it's left up to Team 7, or just Naruto and Sasuke, because who cares about Sakura, right? To really do something to help Kakashi, which instead of the Demon Wind Shuriken, because, you know, they don't really need to do something that big brain due to Naruto's physical strength being so much superior than his canon self, I honestly think it would just be Naruto and Sasuke working together by shooting fireballs and ki blasts at Zabuza. Zabuza, seeing these blasts come from different directions, would decide to free Kakashi and then just evade all these blasts. And as he's dodging, Sasuke would be revealed to Zabuza, and Naruto would be at first, but then when Zabuza tries to look for Naruto again, he wouldn't be spotted. Also, ki blasts suddenly just start going missing. They're not really being fired anymore, and only fireballs. At that point, Sasuke would then scream out to Naruto to finish him, and Naruto would then come from a tree, clotheslining Zabuza, and basically shooting 2 ki blasts point blank in Zabuza's face at full power. Basically, imagine what Vegeta did to Pui Pui, but it's to the face, and it's Naruto. Anyway, Zabuza would then get sent flying, and Kakashi would collapse due to exhaustion, but luckily they would go to Tazuna's house to recover, and while that's going down, Haku would arrive, and here I think Zabuza would barely manage to recover, but I don't think they're going to be going back to Gato anytime soon, but rather just wait for Team 7 or Gato to arrive on the bridge site so they can finally just end everyone that they need to and basically just go off and vibe. It sounds stupid at first, sure, but really Zabuza and Haku aren't going to go back to Gato while Zabuza's in this condition because Gato's just going to take advantage and Haku's not going to let that happen, but Gato has too much men, so it might be kind of dangerous for Haku. And they obviously want to get their hands on Team 7, and especially Haku, for what they did to Zabuza. So they're just going to basically kill everyone that they need to at the bridge site and then go about their life. After Team 7 recovers, or just Kakashi really, Team 7 would head out, and this time Naruto wouldn't be oversleeping due to him being exhausted because he was hardcore training, because he wouldn't really be hardcore training here. Rather just kind of doing some simple training with Sasuke, but nothing really too intense. So we would get Team 7 arriving to the bridge site where they would encounter Haku and Zabuza, and this time instead of it being a 1v1 between Sasuke and Haku, it's Sasuke and Naruto versus Haku. Sasuke and Naruto understand that they're going to have to work together in order to defeat both of them since Kakashi was struggling hard with Zabuza, and Zabuza's hyping up Haku to be stronger than even himself. Now, Sasuke and Naruto are going to be working together against Haku, and this is a Haku who's not even using the crystal ice mirrors. And since Sasuke alone defeated this Haku, and now he has alongside Naruto who's even stronger than Sasuke by a lot, I think they're going to defeat Haku before he can even get the mirrors off. And with this, we would have Haku being defeated early on, and not really dead, but just defeated unconscious. And we would then get Team 7 working together to defeat Zabuza, and at the last second, as they're ready to defeat him, Haku would wake up, and in a desperate last attempt to save Zabuza, he would sacrifice himself in the process. Which really wouldn't matter, since even if Zabuza could get the jump on Kakashi, since Haku would intervene, we would have Naruto and Sasuke being literally right beside Kakashi, So Zabuza is just going to get negged by both of them, and Zabuza would be defeated here. And I'm going to say when Gato and his men arrive, Zabuza isn't killed necessarily, but rather redeemed like in canon, and he would go on to kill Gato and his men. And as for Gato's two goons that go after the family of Tazuna, like I believe the daughter and his nephew, I don't remember exactly what they are, but you guys get it, the mother and son. Anyways, those two would probably be killed most likely since Naruto isn't here to help them, which is a little sad, but that's kind of a minor change really, because like they don't really impact the story all that much. It's just kind of sad in the end of this arc, but that's really it. Land of Waves is concluded, and part 2 would go into the Chunin exams along with maybe the rest of part 1, but again, I'm going to be saving that for part 2. If you guys did enjoy this part, be sure to smash that like button, as it does help me understand that you guys want more parts to this series, so just do that. Along with comment some what ifs that you guys want me to do, suggest them, go ahead, don't be afraid. Be sure to subscribe if you're new and hit the notification bell, that way you are notified and updated every time I upload. Since a lot of my viewers aren't really subscribed, y'all should really subscribe, because again, that's not only helping me out, that's also helping you out, so you are notified for this content that you're constantly coming back to. So come on bro, subscribe bro. With that being said, my name is Tylearn. I'm going to catch you guys in the next video, probably part 2. It's probably going to be part 2. But thanks for watching guys, peace out, bye.